Alright, we're back on sports, and I want to say this right now. The way live we're going to do it today, because some things I really want to talk about. We'll talk about some basketball first. I want to do football, you know what I mean? Then I want to do overseas EPL football, flop of the week. I want to talk about some ref stuff. Then I want to talk about boxing, and I want to talk about glory kickboxing. That's how we're going to end this, okay? So let's get started with basketball. First off, let me say that NBA playoffs have been kind of shaky, all right? And I say kind of shaky due to the fact that there are a lot of players who are injured during the playoffs, and we have seen this time and time again. It's starting to get to a point where now refs are taking over the games, and I say this due to the fact that if you haven't watched Bulls versus Cavaliers, the previous two games, the refs, and I say this is a backhanded compliment, the refs have did a superb job in keeping the games close, not calling certain calls that deserve to be called, sometimes letting the players play, but at the end of it, they're making sure that each superstar has the ball in their hand when it comes down to the last second to give them that opportunity to make that last second shot. We saw on Saturday with Derrick Rose, did we not? And then we also saw it with Saturday, I believe it was Derrick Rose when he hit the last second buzzer beater off the backboard. We saw it in Washington with Paul Pierce when he did it off the backboard. And then it was funny because the Atlanta Hawks had put out a petition saying, trying to get the Washington Wizards to sign it, saying you're not allowed to shoot the ball off the backboard and score like that in the last second. You know what I mean? Then we saw it, was it yesterday with LeBron when he did it. So they're doing a number of things, the refs, I feel. They're doing a number of things to keep certain superstars with the ball at the end. I kind of feel it weird, found it really weird that we found out that after LeBron knocked down that shot that technically he wasn't even supposed to be the one shooting the ball. He was supposed to be the one inbounding the ball in the last second. So it goes to show you what type of coach the Cavaliers have, okay? However, I want to talk about this a little bit more about basketball because I have some specific issues I want to talk about, all right? And it's still with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, for those who don't know what happened over the week, all right, last week, Cleveland Cavaliers did a commercial about domestic violence and tried to make light of it. However, a lot of people were very upset that they tried to just, tried to make it, as people were saying, they were trying to make a joke of it and that it wasn't that serious. And the Cleveland Cavaliers had to come out and apologize for that commercial. Now, I'll put the link in the info bar where they actually apologized for that. However, now I want to talk about the double standard of things. All right? Because as we've seen as of late, we've seen a lot of football players, domestic violence. We've seen all the commercials, haven't we? Okay. Now we're seeing the Cavaliers, apologize for everything domestic violence. However, I want to talk about this. Brittany Griner. For those who don't know, WNBA, Brittany Griner was involved in a domestic violence dispute with her, I believe, girlfriend, wife, I believe was her wife. However, she pled guilty. She pled guilty to it because she was guilty of hitting her wife. Now, here's the thing. Nothing's been done. I haven't seen any backlash. So what's going on here? Seriously, it's NFL players, Ray Rice and all these other guys, we could jump all over them, okay? The Cleveland Cavaliers, they make commercials, we could jump all over them. Brittany Griner, a woman who hit another woman in domestic violence dispute. Nothing. We talked about this before, haven't we? Also about the double standard of women hitting men, and no one talks about that. But she hit her wife, or whatever, I believe they're married now. She hit her wife, and nothing. I haven't seen any backlash. I haven't seen it put on ESPN to the point where it's just running constant loop and how we should jump all over her. Nope, nothing. Nothing. So, the question is, people, to you, how do you feel about this? Because as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to be, like I say, a lot of it's the public, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, the WNBA, no one knows because the WNBA is not that popular. It doesn't matter if it's popular, right? Haven't we heard this throughout this entire time? It doesn't matter how popular a sport is or how big an athlete is. Domestic violence is a serious issue. Well, if it's a serious issue, then why hasn't anybody jumped all over this yet? I'm just wondering. Anyways, I want to move on. I want to talk about more basketball. I have to say this now. Not too long ago, I went shopping, clothes shopping, just walking around. And I noticed this. This was in the toddler section. I was walking by the toddler section. I saw this. And I wanted to know how you felt about it, because this is exactly what I saw, was it in that section, this clothing. Now, I know you're looking at the toddler's outfit and you're saying, Vint, I really don't see the big deal. This is what I thought when I first saw it. I thought about the conversations that we've covered here on video and talked in the comments about AAU ball. That was the first thing I thought. You know what I mean? Ever since I found out, about AAU ball and how they go about their, dare I say, scouting process when it comes to kids, I was wondering if you thought that Nike went too far on this one. I mean, let's just be honest here, right? Nike has always made stuff for kids. And just their logo and the swoosh and things of that nature. You know they make baby Jordans and stuff, so you know that they have this demographic where they're going to really get at your kids. You know that. But I was wondering if you thought that was going too far. I was just wondering. You know what I mean? Anyways, I want to move on to football. I want to talk about the NFL. We got to talk about the Deflategate. For those who don't know, now that we know the NFL, I want to get this out the way. NFL released text of Brady's being aware of Deflategate footballs. That's right. They actually have the text messages. I'll put the link in the info bar where you can see the conversations. So Brady was aware of what was going on. Now, since then, we've seen Tom Brady's dad come out and say that this is a conspiracy against my son and, the Patriots organization. And we're seeing all these complaints, and excuses that Tom Brady is just this innocent guy who just didn't know what he was getting himself into. I don't buy it whatsoever. I felt that Tom Brady knew, especially after we saw that interview long ago. And here's the thing. A lot of people saying this wasn't a big deal. If Tom Brady would have just apologized, it would have moved on. You still have other people who are saying that was the leading cause for the Patriots to win. Like I said before, I don't think that was the leading cause for the Patriots to win. I don't think it was. Because the way the Patriots were playing, they were winning that game. That's simple, all right? However, they did cheat. They did. And I think if Tom Brady would have somewhat been sincere about an apology instead of denying all of this, then it probably would have went over a little bit more smoother. We've seen even people say, no, ESPN is on the hunt for all this. No, this is the NFL investigation now. They investigated this, and Tom Brady's saying he's disappointed what they found. And like I said, now everyone's talking about conspiracy. Come on, just own up to it. Just own up to it. Why can't you own up to it? You've been caught. That's it. And I know a lot of people now are going to say, well, once again, what's new? The Patriots are cheating. Tom Brady should be suspended for a year, and that's what people are saying. Keith Olbermann definitely say he should be suspended for a year. A lot of people say he should be suspended minimum 8 games. If you really were cheating, then, you know what, I have to somewhat agree. You need to be suspended for a year. I mean, we've seen the Patriots get away with so much, and the consequences of that were so little. Even Teddy Bruschi came out on ESPN, which is crazy. He came out and said that the report, he doesn't believe in the report. He don't believe in it. First off, ESPN, why are you even asking Teddy Bruschi about his opinion on Tom Brady in this situation? You knew he played for the Patriots. I mean, he was like, I just don't believe in this. I'm thinking to myself, so what about Spygate then, Teddy Bruschi? What about Spygate? You gonna sit here and say that didn't exist either? Like, you should know he's going to have a bias. You should know. And I just felt it was wrong of ESPN to put him on to do that. But hey, I guess he's going to have his opinion. Now, I'll put it like this. The same people who were jumping all over Tom Brady, right, are the same people applauding A-Rod for breaking Willie Mays' record. Now, I have a problem with that. Because as far as I'm concerned, what A-Rod did, he cheated. He got caught multiple times. Admitted finally he cheated. And you still want to put him all over the place. Look at his accomplishments. As far as I'm concerned, A-Rod will never be a Willie Mays. He should not be in the Hall of Fame as far as I'm concerned. And when you get caught cheating that much and then you have to go through all this process, no, you're done as far as I'm concerned. He should not be celebrated. And yet, a lot of sports places were like, A-Rod just hit his X amount of home run. He just did. Why are you reporting that? You're praising a cheater. You understand that, right? Or is that okay due to the fact that as long as it equates to ratings? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. But we got to talk about more NFL news. Now, I want to apologize to those last week due to the fact that I wasn't able to get back to you as much, due to the fact that, for those who don't know, we had our Eagles talk, and some of you commented, and some I got back to, and then you responded. But I couldn't get back to you due to the fact that, for those who don't know what happened, the sports video was temporarily blocked worldwide. The EPL came along and said, oh no, we can't have you showing players celebrate and showing, the fans celebrate. And we're not talking actual competitive play. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about celebration. And I had to dispute it, and they lost their claim. So the video is back up. But I want, some of you had said, that, you shouldn't believe in the media when it comes to Chip Kelly and the things that he was trying to do during the draft. Well, here's something for you. The Bucs GM admits that the Eagles tried to trade up for Mariota, but they wanted to keep their pick due to the fact that they wanted Jameis Winston. So Chip Kelly was going to trade up for Mariota, just to let you know that, okay? But we knew this already, right? I told you before, you cannot believe in Chip Kelly that much, because for those of you guys who are saying, well, he was saying that the media was wrong and they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. The Bucs GM now is coming out and saying this. Okay? So Chip Kelly was going to make the move. Alright? I just want to give you that. However, speaking of more Chip Kelly, we need to talk about this. LaShawn McCoy comes out and says that Chip Kelly was getting rid of all the good black players. And a lot of people jumped on it and said, oh, he's calling Chip Kelly a racist, blah, blah, blah. If that's the case, first off, we all know that LaShawn McCoy, I've said this before, especially when he had said, the Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl next year. This was the year that we didn't make the playoffs, and he came right out. The season wasn't even over yet. And he was like, we're going to the Super Bowl next year. What did I say? I said, LaShawn McCoy is a great running back, but you should not listen to him. And this is another case of you should not listen to him. You cannot sit here and say he's getting rid of all the good black players. So what about Nick Foles? He got rid of him too. I mean, see, come on, let's be honest here, man. He's going to make these moves the way he's making them. Do I agree with him? I'm sure that all of us can say, well, I won't say all of us. There's some people who defend Chip Kelly. But a lot of us are saying, we don't like these moves. But we will not go that far and say, he's a racist. That's just ridiculous. Come on. LaShawn McCoy, stop. All right? He even went as far as say he really didn't want to go to the Bills. But we already knew that too. All right? You should know by now that this is just going to just get worse as it goes along. You know what I mean? LaShawn McCoy's angry. He is. He's still upset that what happened, it was uncalled for. He finally came out and said that, they really didn't have a good relationship. They really never talked. And you know what? I'm starting to think that maybe he did the same thing with Deshaun Jackson and a number of players. Maybe they didn't have a good relationship. I had said last week, what did I say? When you're making these type of moves, you will lose your locker room. And the fact that now we're finding out that he didn't really have this type of discussion with his players, and we heard throughout last season. Remember when Kerry Williams was like, oh, the practices are too much and things of that nature, and we jumped on him for it. And Chip Kelly came out and said, my door is always open if players wants to talk, if they want to talk. So I'm thinking to myself, is it on Chip Kelly for not taking the initiative to make that contact with players? Or is it the players' fault for not even trying to meet him 50-50 if they feel they're rubbed the wrong way? I don't know. However, LaShawn McCoy said his goodbyes. He thanked the city of Philadelphia, the fans, everyone. Of course, he left Chip Kelly out. He snubbed him. And I can understand why he snubbed him. You know what I mean? Because it was a blindsided move, and he's still upset. He's bitter over it. I'm sure when we play the Bills this season, he's going to try his hardest to destroy us. He's going to try his hardest. Also, I would like to say that Deshaun Jackson came out and said that the Redskins are the team to beat this year. They're the team to beat. Really? As I say, and in other news, Tony Romo came out and said that they're going to the Super Bowl this year. So which one is it in our division? Is the Redskins the team to beat, or the Cowboys going to win the Super Bowl? Look, I understand that, every team, every fan base has to be optimistic. I get it. Everyone's hype. I get it, all right? Personally, y'all know how I feel about things. I don't believe that much in optimism when I don't see it. You know what I mean? There's one thing to hope against things, and then there's one thing like, okay, you got to be fucking stupid if you think something's going to happen. That's just how I am, all right? But when you have these guys from multiple teams in our division coming out and saying this, I mean, don't get me wrong. The Redskins, they went and got some offensive line, so there's no excuse for RG3 if he messes up this year. You know what I mean? Unless there's going to be a rash of injuries again. But let's not think that. I mean, let's look at what the Giants did as well. You know what I mean? Like you just can't say you're the team to beat when you were at the bottom of the barrel last year, actually a number of years, and say you're the team. Like, no, you can stop that. Stop. Anyways, I want to move on. I want to move on to the EPL. I want to talk about that since I mentioned them not too long ago. I want to talk about Chelsea. And I want to talk about their game against Liverpool. Their game against Liverpool was really well done. And you know what? I always say you have to go out there and win. But that tie was actually pretty justifiable. And I say that due to the fact that if you watch the first half of the game, Chelsea came out. That's what I've been waiting. They came out aggressive. They played the way they were supposed to. Their pass percentage in their opponent's zone was at 89%. That is a high pass percentage, okay? That, for me, it was great to see. All right? They scored. It was great to see. They scored early. And then Liverpool, of course, Gerrard headed right in. It was really great to see, because, and I put it like this, a lot of people were jumping on, Gerrard, showing that, especially on Twitter, they showed that Chelsea fans were making fun of Gerrard of flopping. And they're saying, well, what about John Terry? And here's the thing. If you didn't notice, and that's a little try-hard for me, because if you noticed during the game, Chelsea fans actually gave Gerrard a standing ovation. So you can't jump on Chelsea fans for it. They gave him a standing ovation, okay? They're just going to mock him a little bit due to the fact that it's a game. That's what they do, you know what I mean? All fans do it. So it doesn't matter what sport. So as far as I'm concerned, it was a great game. I think in the second half, especially around the 70-minute mark, Chelsea, when they tried to attack, they didn't have enough guys forward to try those type of attacks. I did not understand it. It was great to see Remy out there again. Willem, I'm still on the fence with. However, he had a couple good moves, you know what I mean, when it came to passes and saving the ball at times. but I'm still not sold on him yet, especially after what we saw. Was it the week before? Him and Drogba, they just weren't on the same page when it came to chemistry and passing to each other. It was a good game. I wasn't disappointed in the tie. I will say this though, because Liverpool had to beat Chelsea in order to get into next year's Champions League, I believe. They weren't able to do it. It's all but done for them to be qualified in the Champions League because they had to be in the top 4, I believe. However, the 5 and 6 spot make it to the Europa League. So let's look at the standings right now for that. So Liverpool, and if they can keep their spots, Liverpool and Tottenham will make the Europa League. I want to talk about relegation. That's right. I want to talk about it. Now, for those who don't know, so far, people that have been relegated, all right, have been Burnley. They've been relegated. Goodbye. All right. Also, Queen's Park Rangers, so we call them Queen's Park Relegation. Look, the way they played against, Manchester, City? They got destroyed 6-0. 6-0. I don't know how you come out and in the second half, when you're coming through that tunnel, and the players, they're not running. The players are talking, they're arguing with each other. They look defeated. The one guy was just like, oh. Like they just looked really defeated before they even came out. And it was just a piss-poor excuse. Like you saw even when they were trying to line up to stop shots. It was ridiculous. Their goalkeeper was just like, look, line up the right way. They weren't lined up properly, and Manchester City ended up scoring. That's what happened. So it was really disappointing to see how Queen's Park Rangers ended their season. The fans in the stands were crying. It was just, look, you deserve to get relegated. You deserved it, all right? So Burnley and Queen's Park Rangers have been relegated. We will see what happens later because we still don't know if Hull City is going to be relegated. It looks like they will be, but they're only slightly a couple points away if they can make a push because you still have Leicester City, who is, it's in 15th, I believe. Those point differences, even though the placings, the standings, still the point difference can be made up. So we will see slowly but surely what happens with Hull City. Right now, they are on the bubble of being relegated. We'll see what happens. Also, we will talk more than likely next week about who will get promoted to Premier League, okay? Also, I want to talk about the Griffin Force flop of the week. I gotta talk about this. Which you should know goes to pro basketball. And we talked about basketball already. I know. However, I have to talk about this due to the fact that you got to be kidding me. If a guy barely touches you, that you're going to throw yourself on the damn ground. I swear to God. Please, look. Griffin Force flop of the week. Check it out. NBA, you're on the clock again. I mean, look, is it a foul? Yeah, guy barely pushes off, but you throw yourself that. Come on, man, stop. Like, and then you wonder why the NBA isn't really taken seriously. That's why this playoffs, the way I'm just watching it, it's more fun to watch the fans on Twitter jaw each other than it is the actual games. I mean, because of things like this, like you cannot take it serious. You can't. I will say during these playoffs, though, for the NBA, that the teams that are left, at least we'll have a new champion. At least because a lot of these teams that that are in the running for a championship, they haven't held the title or they've never held the title. So you know what? That's actually pretty interesting to watch. I think that's what will keep me interested in watching. However, I do have a problem with refereeing during these playoffs, and we've seen a number of bad referee calls. But this one, okay, you cannot tell me, all right, that if a player gets picked by his own, teammate, and that Kyle Korver, when he tries to get the ball, you're going to call foul Kyle Korver for trying to get it knowing that this guy fouled. You've got to be kidding me here, ref.
Half court, both of these teams are very good half-court defensive teams.
And Beal hits the deck. Beal actually got hurt in game 1. Sprained his right ankle, still scored 28 points.
I seriously don't understand how you called it. I mean, it is Joey Crawford, but I mean, let's be honest here. That's an unfortunate collision. I guarantee you, if Kyle Korver had actually held control of the ball for a couple seconds, he probably would have called a jump ball, knowing him. It's all it is an unfortunate collision. You let the players play through that. You don't call no foul on that and try to bail that guy out, because that's what it is. You're bailing the guy out. Like Kyle Korver could stop. He's in motion because he can stop. Come on, stop. Seriously, that's absolutely ridiculous. Speaking of more things that are ridiculous, let's talk about Mayweather Pacquiao, the rematch. Now, I'll put it like this, all right? I had told you guys and girls, all right, about what? 2 weeks before? This fight happened? What did I say? Regardless how this outcome of this match, this fight, they were going to rematch. Did I not say that? And now we know, with everything that's going on with Manny Pacquiao, which we will talk about, okay? We'll talk about more in depth. Mayweather says, yeah, we're going to have a rematch. I'll allow this rematch.
Jamie Sayer back with you on SportsCenter. Manny Pacquiao will undergo surgery on his shoulder. He's going to be out 9 to 12 months. And Floyd Mayweather, in a text message to Stephen A. Smith today, said that he would be willing to fight Manny in his fight in September or even a year from now.
Now, for anyone who hasn't seen Mayweather rematches, let me say this right now. You should know how this goes. The second time around, Mayweather already has you scouted and will beat you even worse. If you don't believe me, go ask Marcos Maidana. We already know how that one ended out, didn't we? Okay then. So, if this happens again, don't expect anything different. Okay? The second time around. Were they going to rematch? Hell yeah. You see how much money they made? Did you see how much? Of course they were going to have a rematch. You had to be crazy to think that. And for people who got their feelings all in it, when it came to, I want Pacquiao to knock him out, or I want Mayweather to win, you got duped. You got duped. You did. And I see a lot of people were real salty in my video last week. But you know what? We're going to talk about this now about Pacquiao. Due to the fact that he is in a world of trouble right now. For those who know what I'm talking about, let's talk about this right now. Pacquiao, because of his injury, because he didn't disclose his injury, because what we're hearing in reports that he hurt himself before the fight, okay? And he was asking for, to get shot. We talked about this last week. He wanted the needle last week before, and they denied him of it. Pacquiao could face sanctions for the undisclosed injury. He could face sanctions for this from the commission. That's right. That's not all. Now, because of this, fans have filed a class action lawsuit against Pacquiao over the injury because he didn't disclose it. That's right. That's not all, okay? Pacquiao and promoters are peppered. That's right, the promoters now are peppered with lawsuits, class action lawsuits. Fans are upset. That's right. Now, for everything that we've seen so far, if Pacquiao really was hurt, okay, before this fight, and a lot of people say, well, he was injured beforehand, and then he was fine, and then he re-aggravated before the fight, and they wouldn't give him the needle before the fight. You have to understand, for everything that Pacquiao has been through when it comes to allegations of getting, of cheating, all right, you have to understand that they were going to say, no, you're not going to get that because you're not hurt. You told the commission that there was nothing wrong. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, let's talk right now about what ESPN said with Teddy Atlas, okay? And Todd Grisham, I'm sorry, who used to be a wrestling guy, but he's on ESPN now. You have to understand that the facts are the facts, and you need to start looking at things for what they are. Listen to what they say about Pacquiao, how he wasn't hurt before the fight. He actually aggravated his shoulder in the third round. But there's more to that as well. Let's hear what they have to say about this.
Now, after the fight, it was revealed that Manny Pacquiao sustained an injury to his shoulder in training. He actually checked no on a form saying his shoulder wasn't hurt. However, Pacquiao said he aggravated the shoulder injury during the third round and it affected him all fight long. He had surgery on Thursday to repair what his doctor called a significant tear in his right rotator cuff. That said, we welcome in Teddy Atlas. And Teddy, what did you make of the situation when you heard about Manny's injury?
Well, the first thing I thought of, well, if that's the case, I have a couple of questions. Why did his trainer, Freddie Roach, a good trainer obviously, why did he make such strong proclamations for the 2 weeks before the fight that his man was going to knock out Mayweather? It would have been enough to say nothing or say he's going to win, but knock him out? I mean, with the aftermath of the knowledge we have now, that is almost tantamount to, maybe it is tantamount, to false advertising. You're letting the people think you're fine. Your guy's never been better. Shouldn't do that. And then, when you're in the runway, you and your fighter, Freddie Roach and his fighter, and you're getting ready to come out, you have to have that mindset, like a warrior. You're taking selfies. Wow. With the knowledge we, again, have now that you knew he was injured, why would you do such a thing? Again, now it looks like afterwards that you were celebrating, you were happy for the payday. You knew you couldn't be, or there's a good chance you couldn't be 100% with your fighter. So it really does give the image that you won already because you were getting paid. And that's a bad image now that we have this information.
In hindsight, though, Teddy, do you think the right shoulder injury ultimately cost Manny Pacquiao the fight?
I've been training fighters in this business 40 years. I was thinking the other day, when's the last time that I've had a fighter get through a full training camp, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, depending on how long you think you need, where he was 100% healthy. I don't think there's ever been a time. My son works in the NFL with the Oakland Raiders. He's the head, with the scouting. He's never told me, Dad, we don't have anybody. We're 100% ready to go. It is the nature of the sport. Boxing and football, contact sport, high-octane sport, physical sport. If you opened up Webster's dictionary, you'd probably see the definition for fight. Somewhere in there it would suggest overcoming, getting through, finding a way. That's what athletes in this business, in football, in those kind of demanding physical businesses, that's what they do. They have to do. If I was a lawyer making a case here, whether or not he could have continued, and again, I'm a trainer. I'm very careful not to say I'm going to fight his body. I'm not. But in that 4th round, when Pacquiao hurt, when he dinged Mayweather, when he thought he had Mayweather hurt, and Mayweather went back, wow, he opened up with a lot of punches, a lot of right hooks. I never saw him once pull back from one of those punches in any kind of agony. Never saw him wince. Never saw any hint that was hurting him. He had to get inside. Shoulder being what it might have been. Let's give him that. Did it stop his legs from moving forward? No. When he got hit with those right-hand counters from Mayweather, which we knew were coming all night. I knew it was coming. He was going to have to find a way to get through it. He got tentative. He didn't go forward. Again, the shoulder bone not connected to the leg bone or the mind bone. He could have taken those legs and gone forward. That's where he needed to go. That shoulder didn't stop him from doing that. That shoulder didn't stop him from having the kind of fighter's mentality, the urgency to get inside at any cost and land this, the left hand that wasn't hurt. That's my problem.
Now, before anyone gets upset at Teddy Atlas, understand and say, oh, he likes Mayweather. No, Teddy Atlas does not like Floyd Mayweather. Matter of fact, Teddy Atlas not too long ago actually bagged on Floyd Mayweather for what he did in his 24/7 with Marcos Maidana in the second fight. Okay? So before anyone says that he's pro-Mayweather, no, he's not. Teddy Atlas is a legendary trainer, is one of the most respected trainers in boxing for a number of years. Like I say, he's been doing this for 40 years. And if you notice, everything he said, I said last week, did I not? About how Pacquiao didn't look hurt when he was throwing that shoulder. He wasn't favoring or anything during the fight, was he? No, he wasn't. However, the only thing I will disagree with Teddy Atlas is what he said about Freddie Roach. About how he said, Pacquiao's going to knock him out. They try to sell tickets. He's going to say, every fighter says, I'm going to knock someone out. And it doesn't happen. It happens. So, for him to say it's false advertising, I wouldn't say that. That's just trying to hype up a fight. Okay? That's what that is. That's the only thing I'll disagree with Teddy Atlas with. However, everything else that he said during that time, it's on the money. It is. Because even if your right shoulder's hurting you, it's not stopping your legs. That's not stopping your left hand. And we saw Pacquiao throwing a number of punches. Like I said, when he caught Mayweather in the 4th, mind you, his shoulder was hurt in the 3rd. And he caught him in the 4th. He had no problem throwing that, did he? Okay. The fact is, Mayweather beat him. That's what it comes down to. All right? Injury or not. Now, of course, Pacquiao's already had the surgery. But you should know if Mayweather is going to do this, this is probably going to be his last fight if it's a rematch. They saw the money. That's all it comes down to. If people fall for this again, it's on you. I say that because the first one should have been on you because you should have known. We saw a lot of casual fight fans come out, let's be honest, and try to get hyped for this. That's what it was, okay? And we all knew how this was going to turn out. Now that you have the blueprint of how this fight happened, you're going to tell me that it's going to be different the second time around. Is that what you're going to say? Or are you going to say that Manny's 100% now, which no boxer is ever 100%, as you heard Teddy Atlas? You're going to sit here and say it's going to be a different outcome. He's going to actually go out ferociously and start fighting again. Is that what you're going to say? Look at it for what it is, people. Seriously. It's one thing to be a fan of a said boxer or whatever, but sometimes you have to be objective. Sometimes you have to be impartial with what you like and look at it from a boxing standpoint. You do. However, speaking of more boxing, we shall talk about Alvarez versus Kirkland. Now, when this fight happened on Saturday, I have to say this now, okay? I had said when I was watching, I was like, this fight is not going to last past possibly 6-7 rounds in Alvarez's favor. Kirkland is not ready for this fight, especially since he doesn't have his older trainer, which he has not done well since, okay? We'll say that now, because he didn't have Ann Wolf. Now, since she's out the, equation, you have to also understand, I said, if this fight, if they just go at each other in the first round, they start just, pressing the pace, this fight will last 4 rounds, tops, in Alvarez's favor. It actually lasted 3. But I want you to hear after Kirkland gets knocked out, because he got knocked down 3 times, he got knocked out in the 3rd round. I mean, the 3rd round, in the 3rd knockdown. He got knocked out, and I want you to hear how he makes the excuse that he was going to get up. He was trying to regroup himself from the knockout. Yeah. But he blames the referee for stopping the fight. I want you to hear this real quick.
And I should ask, can you even remember clearly a fight like that at a moment like this when so many punches were exchanged?
Most definitely. I'm a fighter, so most definitely you got to be able to know your ins and your outs when it comes to being in the ring. Most, as I could say, I got in there, putting work together. I evidently left my left hand down, and he came over the top and caught me with a shot. I tried to regroup the referee. He called it off. So,
see, this is what bothers me, all right? Because now you're trying to blame the referee for something clearly that you did. Now, I'll put it like this. When the second knockdown happened, the referee clearly says to him, show me what you got. You got to show me something, because if not, he's going to stop this fight, because Kirkland is getting beat up, all right? Look what happens when he says this.
Hey, baby. Hey, stay there. Come here. Show me something.
Kirkland at great pains to let John Shorley know he's not knocked out, just knocked down. Second knockdown. Right uppercut continues to land. There's a perfect straight right hand, and Shorley's going to stop the fight. What a performance by Canelo Alvarez.
Those attacks.
Talking about body shots, there he aims low and then fires upstairs. A perfect feint.
That's what I call look down but come up.
A brilliant display by Canelo Alvarez. One more look.
Remember, Wilfred Benitez's knockout of Maurice Hope was almost the exact same punch, just without the jab. He looked down and came over the top, and that's where you see real old school boxing lessons right there with Canelo Alvarez just showed you. Wow.
An amazing win for Alvarez. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the particulars on the knockout.
Kirkland is in no shape or frame of mind to even regroup himself. He doesn't know where he's at. So you can't sit here saying the ref stopped. If the ref had counted to 10, there was no way that Kirkland was getting up. So yeah, you stopped the fight. He gave you your warning and said, show me what you got. And as soon as you went out there, you got, 10 seconds later, you got knocked out. That's what happened. Don't blame the referee for your fault. Seriously, it's one thing if a ref, it's already bad enough that we already get on refs for making bad decisions, but when a referee clearly makes a good decision as a, for fighter safety, because you can't go anymore. You can't. Don't blame him for your problem. I really hope that Kirkland looked back at that and said, you know what, I was absolutely wrong. I deserve to apologize to that referee for making the right call. All right? But I'll show you another example of referees, I shouldn't even say referees, judges making the wrong call. Let's talk about Glory Kickboxing. Let's talk about this, all right? Glory Kickboxing was great on Friday. It was. It was high-paced. I mean, there was knockouts. There was all types of stuff. However, the last fight was such garbage. And I say this because, was it Simon Marcus versus Artem? I have to say this now. This fight was amazing. What I'll do is I'll put the link in the info bar for those who have not seen this fight, okay? It went 4 rounds. This fight, it's not, you have to understand that Glory Kickboxing isn't like Muay Thai kickboxing, all right? Glory Kickboxing doesn't let you clinch and knee. They don't let you sit there clinch all day and knee like Muay Thai kickboxing does. So when you clinch, you have to understand that's a form of holding. They consider that holding. And when Artem kept doing it because he couldn't keep up with the pace that Simon Marcus was handing him, because he was handing him his ass, all right? They deducted a point from him. They did. However, I had the fight judged. Like I said, I'll put the fight in the info bar if you're really interested in it. I had it Simon Marcus won that fight 3 rounds to 1, because it's a 4-round fight, okay? However, the judges saw it differently, and they considered the fight a draw. That's right, they said it was a draw. Listen to Simon Marcus's response, his immediate reaction when he's interviewed after the judging score, after the totals.
Okay, Simon, what do you think about the decision? Bullshit. Wow. I won that fight. Okay, there you have it. Let's go and find out what the champion has to say. Artem, what was the difference in that fight for you winning?
The champion is fuckery. That's the blood clot.
Hey, shut your mouth. Wow. Right here. Artem, come in the ring with me if you want something.
While it seems very unprofessional, I can understand why. Because if you watch the fight, like I said, I'll put it in the info bar. Simon Marcus is going 100 miles an hour. This is not like boxing or any other contact sport where you say, or MMA, where you say, UFC, you shouldn't leave it up to the judges. No, Simon Marcus was trying to knock this guy out as much as possible. He came 100% and 110%. He was on the gas the entire time. He did not slow down, which is why Artem kept holding him, because he couldn't handle that type of pressure. He couldn't. That's what it came down to. There was no pausing and I'm going to take off. No, he just kept coming after him. So this guy wasn't trying to leave the fight up to the judges. He was trying to knock him out. And the fact that he just came, he was like, this is bullshit. This is some old bullshit. You know what? I like that. I like that. It shows some fire. It shows that, judges, you didn't just get it wrong. You fucked up. That's exactly what he said. And I find it funny that his corner actually came out and said something. And then he's like, oh, why don't you get in the ring with me? Because, that guy doesn't want to get in the ring with the champ. Even though the champ lost that night, that commoner just sitting in the corner, he don't want to fight. He don't want to fight. Look, I'll put it like this. Glory Kickboxing was great up until that point. They really had, the guy really got robbed. Even went on, Simon Marcus went on his Twitter and said the same thing. He's like, I'm the real champion. And a lot of people were like, you are the real champion. And I have to agree. You are the real champion. It is a shame that they took that title away from you. You clearly trained so hard. This was a rematch because last time Artem beat him. He really beat Artem this time. There's no doubt about it. It was kind of sad to see the screw job happen. Like I said, it's something that needs to be corrected. Hopefully Glory will do something about it. Anyways, I'm done for the day. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. We'll talk in the comments as usual. I'm out.